of the team. So I see a big blowout for Real Madrid as well.
Perfect. So that's it for the soccer segment. Pretty easy there. So we're going to take a short break. After that, we're just going to go into our final topics here. Mine's going to be on who should be the U.S. national team goalkeeper. The World Cup rosters were announced. To be honest, none of those goalkeepers should be in. I'll tell you who should be in a minute. And Tom, obviously you have your final topic here. So we're going to play some Robin Schultz, Sugar on the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone and Tom Crane on Spreaker Radio.
In the ceiling, ooh baby, it's the ultimate feeling. You got me lifted, feeling so gifted. Sugar, how you get so fly? Sugar, how you get so fly? Ooh, sugar, how you get so fly? Sugar, sugar, how you get so fly? Ooh, sugar, how you get so fly? Sugar with just the right amount of spice. I'm in the loop and everyone's desire. She's out to get you, you can't run, you can't hide. She's something mystical, they call her lights. I say, so far from typical, but take my advice. Before you play with fire, do think twice. And if you get burned, well baby, don't you be surprised. Lifted, drifting higher than the ceiling. Ooh baby, it's the ultimate feeling. You got me lifted, feeling so gifted. Sugar, how you get so fly?
And welcome back to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone and Tom Crane, coming to you live from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's about 6:40 Eastern, 5:40 Central Time, and 3:40 Western. So, final topics here. I'll start with mine first. The U.S. Jurgen Klinsmann announced 26 players for the U.S. men's national team. This is honestly a pivotal year for Klinsmann, in my opinion. I think this is the year that we'll see or not whether Klinsmann's coaching ability and whether or not he's established enough where he can develop some depth here. In most people's opinions, this is the worst time for goalies, and period. And probably they're probably right. If we're going to be honest with ourselves, mainly because if you look at the roster, it's just full of veteran players, but it has some people who have potential. So, I mean, you look at the goalkeeping roster for the U.S. men's national team. David Bingham from the Earthquakes. Brad Guzan, who's been a long-time men's national team rep for Aston Villa. Tim Howard, of course, the long-standing goalie who played at Everton but just announced on Sunday that he has a contract. Oh, looks like that cut out for a second. And Tim Howard, who's now with the Colorado Rapids, and William Yarborough from Club Leon in Mexico. I'll be honest, none of these keepers for me should be playing in qualifying just because they have not been up to the standards where the U.S. national team goalies should be. For a long time, U.S. national team goalies, we've always had that at least in the back of our net. Not to make that a pun really, but we always had that in our back pocket. And the one goalie who I feel deserves an opportunity is Sporting Kansas City goalkeeper Tim Melia. This guy won MLS Comeback Player of the Year, beating out Portland Timbers midfielder Diego Valeri and Will Trapp from Columbus Crew. This is a guy who's essentially gone around the league for a number of years, 6 years in MLS, going into number 7 this season. Wasn't really a pick to be a starter for Sporting KC in 2015, replacing Louis Marin, starting 23 matches, one MLS Cup playoff game against the Timbers, of course. He also helped Kansas City to the 2015 U.S. Open Cup title on the road, coming through in a penalty shootout ahead of the Union in September. It recorded 8 clean sheets and posting an 11-8-4 record. Prior to that season, Melia had only played in 6 games in MLS, all with Chivas USA over a couple years, and then splitting time with Dan Kennedy and Nick Rimando, between the USL and MLS. Honestly, this is a guy who's worked his tail off for an opportunity, and I think that he needs to be given a chance. Again, the fact that he's worked so hard to get back to where he needs to be, and on a Sporting KC team that is year in and year out consistent in Major League Soccer. Granted, it's not the best league in the world, but in a league where we need goalies, and especially when goalies are huge in this paceful game, Tim Melia is arguably one of the best for the United States. Granted, there's other young talent that we could get, but A, they're injured, or B, they're inconsistent. Melia's been there for the last season and a half. Darlington Nagbe from the Portland Timbers, after this past season, finally got a call up to the U.S. men's national team. He got an opportunity, so does Melia. That's my final thought. Tom?
My final thought is on baseball. Today was a landmark game attended by both President Barack Obama and Raul Castro. It was the Tampa Bay Rays against the Cuban national team. Now, I'm not going to say the score because it doesn't really matter. It's an exhibition game, and also it's basically a landmark game. When it comes down to it, the U.S. and Cuba has had animosity towards each other for 50 years because of the Cold War. They're still trying to heal. And this game, this fantastic sport of baseball, has a healing power. I know Bryce Harper wants to change it. I know he's been making these remarks. And David Ortiz has come back and says, you don't need to change it. Baseball is something that can combine and help countries in ways that some people can't understand sometimes. They say it's just a game. It's really not. It's about, I just want to say, the sport itself. It's a national pastime. It's amazing. For me, it is. It's a very emotional thing. Just because I asked my girlfriend to marry me at a baseball game.
Now
Chicago
fiance.
Cubs Orioles game. Soon to be now fiance. Yeah.
Yeah. Soon to be wife.
Soon to be wife now. Yes. It's just the fact that the emotions that come from baseball are amazing. There was a Cuban baseball player, Verona, who had not seen his niece or his family for over 7 years because he had defected from Cuba to go to Haiti in 2013 and then came over to America to play. Countries, politics, I try and put that in the back of my mind because I know it's just another thing to worry about. But when you saw those raw emotions when Verona hugged his niece for the first time in over 7 years and saw his family, it just hit me hard in the heartstrings. It just was, as I say again, and I will keep on saying, just amazing. So my final thought is that baseball is not just a sport. It's a tie to bring people together who have had differences, and is just an amazing game that everybody should acknowledge as is. So that's my final thought.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tom, and thank you for people listening. This will be posted up on Facebook in about 2 minutes. You can check it out. I'll be live next week from Detroit, Michigan. Should be pretty exciting there. But until next time, that's it, the end of our show. So we're going to shut it out with All We Need, Odessa, on the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Strone and Tom Crane on Spreaker Radio.
See ya.
where we small talk each other. Turn the beat up, turn it real loud. Turn the beat up, turn it real loud.